Aug20 Hotties. The content broadcast on this show is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only.
जब हमारे परिवार के बुजुर्गों की सेहत और देखभाल की बात होती है तो घर पर इन होम केयर वाला ऑप्शन सबसे बढ़िया है। अनलॉक का पेस प्रोग्राम एक ऐसा कन्वीनियंट एंड पर्सनलाइज्ड ऑप्शन है जिसके जरिए हमारे बुजुर्ग घर पर हमारे साथ रहकर यही देखभाल और सेवा का लाभ उठा सकते हैं। अब चाहे वो घर पर रहे या अनलॉक वाले पेस सेंटर में आए, उनको वही डेडिकेटेड एंड प्रोफेशनल केयर मिलेगी। अनलॉक ने बुजुर्गों की सेहत को अपना प्रायोरिटी बना लिया है। और जानने के लिए 1855-308-0195 पे कॉल करें। That's 1855-308-0195. After months of screen time and no play dates, the Children's Discovery Museum is open for Purple Play Days of Summer. It's time to rediscover the wonder. Climb on the fire engine, splash around in the waterworks, blow bubbles, and scale the tree climber in Bill's backyard. Oodles of hands-on arts and culture, STEM, health, and nature-themed exhibits await your family. The Giant Purple Museum is open every day, Wednesday through Sunday. Reservations are required at cdm.org. That's cdm.org.
Top of the morning, Bay, with Good Morning Bay.
Get to know about the traffic on your way and what's news around the world today.
Some wisdom skills along the way.
Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's Good Morning
Bay.
गुड मॉर्निंग बे। आप सभी लोग हमारी तरफ से एक प्यार भरा स्वीट सा गुड मॉर्निंग।
Namaste.
नमस्कार।
Vanakkam.
खुश आमदीद।
Assalamu alaikum.
सत श्री अकाल।
Meek andariki vandanamu.
सुप्रभात to everybody out there.
Jai Swami Narayan.
And of course बच्चे इस्माइली भाई बदल को याली मदद मोलाली मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजी मदद बोलेंगे ईसाम बुला। हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे। Myself, you know, yes you do, you know, आलतू बाबा।
And of course, myself, Faltu Rani, wishing you a very, very happy Friday, which is going to make your weekend totally exciting and
Yes.
totally mastani bajani.
Aren't you glad that already is Friday, Fatari?
Yeah.
I predicted it almost 2-3 days ago, Fatari.
Oh God.
Orange days are black. The moment I saw Orange Moon,
It's
I knew.
not black. Have you been watching that series? That's why
I
you're like
said
so obsessed
Orange
with
is
it.
back. What are you listening, Fatari? Khan saaf karo apna. Apna Khan saaf karke show pe aao. Because I said Orange is back, not black.
You
I
said
know
black.
Rang.
I have the recording. We can go back
You
and
can
play
go
it.
and check the recording, Fatani. All you do is always go back in integrity.
Yeah, it is a
Thinking on things. What is the point of going lying in the past, Fatani? Think about the future. That's why I encourage people to do always, Prajan. Think about the weekend. How wonderful the weekend is going to be. Orange weekend. Well, but that's not very interesting because the air quality is really bad. Good morning to everybody joining us right now on Facebook. Hello. Good morning. And yes, when you're going out, somebody posted on Facebook of mine, Faltoni. भाई लगता है filter लगाया. Right? I said yes. मैंने filter लगाया लेकिन अपने चेहरे पे लगाया. So everybody said yes because it's kind of the weather outside. Here's what's going to happen, symptoms. And this is something which is not been published by CDC, so it's something what Althaba is shooting out of the head, top of his head, but it definitely works. Think about it. When you go out, if your eyes are burning, get back inside. As in, it's the first thing which you will notice that your eyes become red and irritation starts in and all the stuff. Okay, unless until you feel safe to go out, it's advisable not to go out. Even in fact, the air quality is bad for people who already have symptoms like asthma and other things. Many kids, of course, as we know, they're having it. But in spite of the parents are sending them to schools. But one thing good about the thing is when they go to school, they still are supposed to wear masks. Kids are being mandated to wear masks and everything, but in school, that's a good thing actually. But this morning, actually, I saw many parents actually, in two minds, whether send the kids to school or not because the weather was so bad. One thing, and second thing is, I think the coronavirus thing also is still looming on. We're not out of the woods as yet, Banujan. Let me remind you that thing. We're not out of the woods as yet. How do I know that thing? Because Biden administration extended the border thing.
Yeah.
Again for Canada and Mexico, that they actually extended the particular, what do we call that, quarantine, what's it called?
Yeah.
Something they call it. Anyway, go to the news and check on that for sure. Lekin abhi ke liye, what we need to go see what's happening with the what? Faltoni, come on, participate in the whole thing.
That
Faltoni.
traffic Banajan,
Yeah.
raste ka haal total saste mein. Kya kuch bhi tu? He's like completely hunting for words and puts it on me.
Hunting for words,
It's time
Faltoni.
for the Bandu traffic update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
Faltoni, I was not hunting for words. Actually, I was hunting to see if you're doing anything, and I realized you're not doing anything.
Oh.
So I just thought, of you sitting there like twiddling your thumbs, you can do some work, right? At least talk, right? Because nothing much to share in the traffic, Faltoni, because I'll tell you why.
No traffic on the roads?
There's no traffic on the roads. Friday.
Wah.
But traffic had not like congestion on everywhere. Only thing, even towards that side, Berkeley and everything else, little bit of congestion only.
Yeah.
So only thing to report right now is a traffic hazard on 280 southbound north of Foothill Expressway.
Huh.
In Los Altos.
Huh.
Nobody goes there anyways.
Oh, really?
You know what Los Altos means?
Los Altos? Yeah, somewhere in the city of hills.
Los means city, is it?
Something high city or something. I don't know.
Altos means high.
Place of.
Altos means hills, of course.
I think so.
Los means lost hills.
No man, the place or something like that. Well, either ways, Manajan, you can clearly tell हम लोग English में बात करते हैं, Urglish में बात करते हैं, हम लोग English में बात करते हैं, but we don't know Spanglish. So,
but Jan, let me tell you one
except
thing.
hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yes, we know mucho caliente because that's what we are.
Yes.
But the point is, Faltoni, weather-wise, we're going to come and jump into the weather right now because weather might seem cloudy right now. It isn't. It might get cloudy actually over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Now, if it gets cloudy and there's rain, it's dangerous. Again.
Why? Because it becomes
Smog.
smoggy?
Yeah, not smoggy. It actually brings down the smoke in the waters, right?
Oh, really?
Last year. Hey, the same thing happened last year.
Yeah, that's true.
2020 has been a very bad year for us.
Well, let's not even talk about what was bad. Let's talk about what's wonderful, Banajan.
Wonderful,
and the lessons that
Banajan,
we've
is the fact
learned.
that we are on air with you guys right now, and of course you can actually listen to us anywhere in the world. We're totally broken the shackles of being tied down to only one particular thing. We're actually available everywhere, anywhere for the matter.
Yes.
As long as you have internet connection, Banajan. And let's hope PG&E does a good job keeping the powers up. Taaki hamare Comcast, AT&T, all these people can actually give us the internet service which we so desperately crave.
Right.
But again, fire season hai. You know that our neighboring places actually is burning down. I just read a very disturbing report about like close to around 400, 600 homes are being affected. And people had to be evacuated all over the Gamaljan. We'll talk about that right now because we go into a news segment right now. We talk about all these things, local and also national, Batajan. And this is your news update which comes to you guys every day. And if you miss any of the news updates we share with you guys on air, you can always go back and check it out on demand on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, Radio Dehotties. Again, that's RADIODEHOTTIES. And Abhi ke Batajan, let's quickly go and check out Faltoni. What do we have as news today?
Well, Banajan, facing backlash and sharp criticism on Afghanistan, President Joe Biden is going to be speaking on the evacuations, I think, in about an hour. He's going to be addressing the nation. Both of them, Kamala Harris as well as President Joe Biden, are facing strong criticism over his handling of the chaotic U.S. pullout from Afghanistan. And they're going to be talking about evacuation efforts and how they're going to provide some kind of restitution for U.S. aligned Afghan citizens. President Biden is to meet his national security team in the White House Situation Room at midday to hear the latest on Afghanistan, and then will deliver remarks from the East Room at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That is at the end of this broadcast. The United States is desperately trying to evacuate thousands of people from Afghanistan by an August 31st deadline, although Biden said this week that U.S. troops at Kabul airport providing security for the evacuation could stay longer if necessary. Biden is counting on cooperation from the Taliban, the Islamist military group that the United States fought for 20 years in Afghanistan. The Taliban ousted the Kabul government a week ago as U.S. forces withdrew, plunging Biden into his biggest foreign policy crisis. In other news from across the nation's capital, Banajan, the FBI has found scant evidence that the Jan 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol was the result of an organized plot to overturn the presidential election results, according to 4 current and former law enforcement officials. Though federal officials have arrested more than 570 alleged participants, the FBI at this point believes that the violence was not centrally coordinated by far-right groups or prominent prominent supporters of then President Donald Trump. According to the sources who have been either directly involved or briefed regularly on the wide-ranging investigations. 90 to 95% of these are one-off cases, said a former senior law enforcement official with knowledge of the investigation. Then you have about 5% maybe of these militia groups that were more closely organized. But on a big scheme of things, there was no grand scheme with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all of these people to storm the Capitol and take hostages.
You've got to be very careful the way these guys put these things and all. But did they say not closely organized? Are they saying that they were closely disorganized?
I have no idea, Alto Baba. I just think that
They're paid off.
Yeah, I think, and it's not an official source. These are just sources that are speaking on the condition of anonymity. So
anonymity. No, sorry, I don't like anonymity. Means you actually are hiding something.
yeah, so I think so too. Man up, man. If you want to say something, speak up.
Or at least woman up, man.
Yeah, exactly. Scientists are actually beginning to question evidence behind the COVID-19 booster shot drive. The Biden administration's plan to provide COVID-19 vaccine boosters is based on concerns that a decrease in the vaccine's ability to protect against milder infections could also mean people will have less protection against severe illness, a premise that is yet to be proven, scientists said on Thursday. US officials citing data showing waning protection against mild and moderate illness from the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines more than 6 months after inoculation on Wednesday said boosters will be made widely available starting September 20th. The additional dose will be offered to people who received their inoculation at least 8 months earlier. Recent data makes clear that the protection against mild and moderate disease has decreased over time. This is likely due to both waning immunity and the strength of the widespread Delta variant, US Surgeon General Vivek Murthy has told reporters. However, we are concerned that this pattern of decline we are seeing will continue in the months ahead, which could lead to reduced protection against severe disease, hospitalization and death. But data on the so-called breakthrough infections in vaccinated people shows that older Americans are the ones who have been most vulnerable to severe illness. So, but right now, it's so confusing, right? The news that's coming out from everywhere. Like, scientists are saying it's not guaranteed. How do you know that it's not effective? Right? And they're saying, what is the reason behind pushing for booster shots? And then you have the Surgeon General telling you that it's, your immunity is waning, so you need to get a booster shot. So who do you go with? It's so confusing, Manajan, seriously. And as Altaba mentioned earlier, the United States has extended travel curbs at Canadian and Mexico land borders, Manajan. The United States on Friday extended the closure of its land borders with Canada and Mexico to non-essential travel such as tourism through September 21st, despite Ottawa's decision to open its border to vaccinated Americans. The latest 30-day extension by the Department of Homeland Security comes after Canada said in July that it would start allowing fully vaccinated US citizens or US visitors starting August 9th for non-essential travel after the COVID-19 pandemic prompted a lengthy ban that many businesses are still reeling from. The United States is also reviewing if the Moderna shot is tied to a higher heart inflammation risk. This is a Washington Post exclusive report that's coming out, Banjan. US health officials are reviewing reports that Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine may be linked to a higher risk of a rare heart condition in younger adults than previously thought. The Washington Post reported late on Thursday, citing people familiar with the review. The review was focused on Canadian data that suggests a higher risk from the shot than the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, especially in men below the age of 30, according to paper. The Washington Post report quoted a source saying it was too early for regulators to reach a conclusion and that additional work was needed before any recommendation was made. You remember that Texas governor who banned schools from mandating the mask?
Yeah.
Well, a Texas Supreme Court has rejected Governor Greg Abbott's intervention to suspend the mask mandate, thus allowing schools to require students to wear masks as per the mandates from local authorities, according to a CNN news report which came out yesterday. And in local news, Panajan, Marin County is going to be holding a mass vaccination event for those with weakened immune systems. Their public health department announced that people who are eligible for a third COVID-19 vaccine dose as a result of having a weakened immune system will be vaccinated. The one-day event from the Marin Health and Human Services will be held at the Marin Center, 20 Avenue of the Flag, San Rafael. Vaccine seekers are encouraged to make an appointment and must bring a valid identification card, their COVID-19 vaccination card, and a health insurance or a medical coverage card if they have one. There is a Good Samaritan who actually stopped an attack on an elderly man in San Francisco's Chinatown. Valjan, he's being called a hero after he held a suspect until police arrived in an attack against an elderly man in San Francisco's Chinatown on Wednesday. Due to other recent attacks, San Francisco police have made it a point to have a presence in Chinatown, but officers can't be everywhere all the time. Fortunately for this victim, there was a Good Samaritan who was ready to respond. 24-year-old Darren Marks Cup, who calls himself a cowboy living in Chinatown, told NBC Bay Area apparently that he rushed out of his apartment after he heard some people screaming in fear. I see a very young guy beating up on a very old man in the middle of the street and a bunch of people watching. At first, Tallcup said the attacker fled as people tried to help the bloodied victim, but then the man came back. Before I could even pull out my phone, the guy came around a second time, this time in a full sprint with the craziest look in his eyes. I remember screaming at him during the fight while I was bear hugging him. I was yelling at him. I was telling him that the old man he was attacking was actually his brother and that love was the answer. Apparently, Stallcup said the man did not answer. He struggled with the attacker until police arrived on the scene. The San Francisco Police Department told NBC Bay Area that the suspect was later taken into custody and will face assault charges. This Mr. Stallcup, who's a Good Samaritan, Banajan, is the founder of a Bay Area group called the World Peace Movement. It's nice to know that there are people who are doing spreading the message of love and peace, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And in the Governor Gavin Newsom's recall, you want to get an update on that, Alto Baba?
Please, let's do it.
The former fiance of one of the contenders for that seat, Larry Elder, said Thursday that the conservative radio talk show host, now running for governor in California, showed her a gun during a heated argument in 2015. Elder, widely seen as the leader in the Republican field running to replace Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom in next month's recall election, issued a statement saying, "I have never brandished a gun at anyone." Elder, who is seeking to become California's first black governor, noted that he grew up in South LA, an area with high violent crime. "I know exactly how destructive this type of behavior is," he said. Alexandra Datig's accusation, first reported by Politico, comes with less than 4 weeks until the September 14th election, and at a time when mail-in ballots already have arrived at voters' homes. Elder said that he intended to stay focused on the issues that inspired the recall drive by Republicans upset with Newsom's progressive policies and the handling of the pandemic. Datig, who was the fiancé, who was 51 years old and a long-time LA resident, said she worked on Elder's show and they lived together during their 18-month romantic relationship from 2013 to 2015. A letter and other records provided by Datig to the Associated Press, including on April 2015 email in which she wrote about the collapse of their engagement, sketched a portrait of an emotionally abusive relationship in which Elder routinely was using medical marijuana to the excess.
Wow.
Yeah. So those were the news from across the country and the Bay Area. Panajan, we will come to the world news, but before that, a Gane Ka Kira.
Yes, Banjana Gane Kira coming up for you guys. And let me tell you, Banjan, today, of course, is the 20th of August. Did you know that, Faltrani?
Yeah. 20th of August. What's
Did you know that?
Yes, I know.
Nothing special about the day. It's Friday.
Oh, there's one more thing special.
What is Faltari?
It's the eve of our Saturday Geet Ka Picture. That happens tomorrow.
बदल जाए अगर माली चमन होता नहीं खाली बहारें फिर भी आती है बहारें फिर भी आएंगी बदल जाए अगर माली चमन होता नहीं खाली बहारें फिर भी आती है बहारें फिर भी आएंगी बदल जाए अगर माली चमन होता नहीं खाली
Wow, Faltani, this song can also be sung in a different context, you know. Ag badal jaye agar naai chaman hota nahi khali. Chaman, we know what it is, right? Your head. बाल फिर भी उगेंगे बाल फिर
अच्छा
भी उगेंगे
तो वो गारंटी नहीं दे सकता आलतू बाबा.
That's true, Olujan.
थकन कैसी घुटन कैसी चल अपनी धुन में दीवाने थकन कैसी घुटन कैसी चल अपनी धुन में दीवाने खिला ले फूल कांटों में सजा ले अपने वीराने खिला ले फूल कांटों में सजा ले अपने वीराने हवाएं आग भड़काएं फजाएं जहर बरसाएं बहारें फिर भी आती हैं बहारें फिर भी आएंगी.
That's right, Bajan. Bahare फिर भी आएंगी for sure, Bajan. Open Air की music direction है, Bajan. It's actually a movie by the Gujarat Films, suppose. Lyrics by Shiven Rizvi Saab and voice, of course, Bajan. The unmistakable voice. That particular voice has a wonderful range. Mahendra Kapoor Saab. Yes, you would have thought Rafi, but yes, don't mistake his voice. He and Rafi Saab, of course, tonality wise, pretty much same caliber. All of them are wonderful singers, you know. But Mahendra Kapoor Saab's thing was he go on that range like, wow, up in the air and come back, you know. That was nice. What on Faltani? Faltani, stop giving me those looks. You're scaring me, you know. It's like, you know, you're like, hey, it's not Friday the 13th. Last week was Friday the 13th.
Aye. Altu Baba, today is 1 week after Friday the 13th. That's what's special. And today is 1 week before Friday the 27th.
That's very good, Faltani. Today is 1 day before tomorrow.
Yes.
And 1 day after yesterday.
So for our bandhus who are watching us on Facebook, Panajan, let's tell you that tomorrow is Avera Bandhu Paltan meets.
Oh my God, I'm making Vibha cry, it seems.
Altu Baba, please do not take away from what I'm suggesting. I'm telling our bandhus to be part of our Bandhu Paltan tomorrow. Right?
Faltani, it's fine, but somebody's saying I'm making them
Our
cry
off-
with laughter.
Our off-air Geet Gata Chal that happens, Banajan. It's a beautiful get-together where bandhus come, khana hoga, gana hoga, nachna hoga, and maze udana hoga. It's amazing.
खाना होगा गाना होगा आपका जरूर आना होगा ऐसा बोलना फातनी तू सही में
तू बता ना आलतू तू है
खाना
ना?
होगा गाना होगा आपका जरूर आना होगा.
That's
बता
right.
दिया.
And आने के लिए आपको सिर्फ $10 खर्चने पड़ेंगे बंजान. आप जाके हमारे mediamahima.com वाले वेबसाइट पे रजिस्टर कर लीजिएगा और यहाँ पे आके हमारे साथ ढेर सारा मजे उड़ाइएगा. You can go to mediamahima.com and you can register there as well, or you can become an M-class member to be part of all of our wonderful activities and events.
Yes.
And you
We
can.
promise we don't have the British accent.
Huh?
Wonderful activities.
Oh God, oh Lord. Anyway, Banjan, so let's go on over and tell you what's going on across the world, Banjan.
High time, yes.
By the way, I just wanted to share this. This was something that I wanted to bring to your attention yesterday. I don't know how many of you have T-Mobile phones. If you don't know already, T-Mobile phones were breached, and right now the data breach has hit 53 million.
No.
Customers as probe finds a
Wait.
wider impact.
Is that why my bank account is almost zero? Or probably negative right now?
Altu Baba,
Huh?
if it was 0, I would have said somebody put money in your account.
True, that's true.
T-Mobile US Inc. said on Friday
Oh,
an
man,
ongoing
seriously.
investigation into a data breach revealed that hackers accessed personal information of at least 5.3 million customers, bringing the total number of people affected to more than 53 million.
So even I'm affected, Faltu. Any millions? Does it mean actually I'm going to get money right now?
ए वो तेरा क्या पर्सनल तेरा सब कुछ पर्सनल इन्फॉर्मेशन पब्लिक है तो उस पे क्या एक्सेस करेंगे वो लोग
That's true.
no, that's not true actually Banjan. He's a very private person. So the third largest US wireless carrier had earlier this week said that personal data of more than 40 million former and prospective customers was stolen along with data from 7.8 million existing T-Mobile wireless customers.
I hope none of my friends have my number on their phones because I don't have T-Mobile, but probably they might have my number, right?
Potential customers.
Potential data. Come on, hey, not potential customers.
उन्होंने तेरा क्रेडिट चेक किया होगा बोला नहीं तुम भी रखो.
That's why I stayed away. That's why I stayed away from AT&T, I suppose. Oh no, I talked to AT&T right now.
Oh,
I
that's
should not
true.
plug them.
Yeah, let's not plug them. Foreign powers sought to hasten evacuations from Afghanistan on Friday after reports of Taliban reprisals, including against people who had worked with US-led forces on the previous Western-backed government. More than 18,000 people have been flown out since the militants took the capital Kabul, according to Transatlantic Alliance, NATO, but Western governments are still facing criticism for not anticipating such a chaotic exodus or helping enough. Thousands of desperate Afghans, clutching papers, children, and some belongings still thronged Kabul airport, Banjan, where gun-toting Taliban members urged those without travel documents to go home.
You know, that particular imagery is so disturbing, and sometimes you feel very helpless.
Yeah.
And it's just that, anyways, I think everybody should be given the right to pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
And anyways, it's not fair.
They should allow, I think countries across the world, it's a huge toll on the United States alone to take on these refugees. I think countries around the world should come together and, open their borders for people who are coming in from there.
Yeah, at least get them some kind of situation before they plan to move anywhere else, because they uprooted from the, it's something akin to what happened with
one image where this man is holding up almost a newborn child. He's holding the child and trying to give it to somebody to take the child.
Correct. I just want to bring reference to people who say, we don't know, we're Indians, we don't know. But our forefathers went through it. Partition time. Honey, people had to uproot themselves and come. It's such a painful thing. Listen to those stories, but I'll tell you, it really, I hope nobody ever goes through that thing. That's why I feel my heart goes out for these people who are in Afghanistan, who are stuck right now. Don't know how to help them, but of course, all we can do is put pressure on our representatives to make sure we can actually tell our porters to think of some way they can actually get them situated, at least, if not here, at least somewhere around the world. Right, which they can call the place a home.
Yeah. In and around the airport, 12 people have been killed since Sunday, NATO and Taliban officials have said. Such was the turmoil that no nation really knows which plane its citizens are on, while some people were caught in Afghanistan on family visits, a Dutch minister said. In other news, Manijan, the United Kingdom has sanctioned 7 Russian intelligence agents over the Alexei Navalny poisoning. It marks the anniversary. Today is the anniversary of his poisoning. Britain on Friday slapped sanctions on 7 men it said were Russian intelligence operatives responsible for the poisoning of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. It also issued a joint statement together with the United States warning Russia over chemical weapons. It did not outline any specific new actions taken by Washington, but again condemned what it described as an assassination attempt against Navalny. Navalny was flown to Germany, if you remember, for medical treatment after being poisoned in Siberia on August 20th, with what Western experts concluded was the military nerve agent Novichok. So there you go, Altubaba. There is a date, August 20th.
See?
And let's tell you that Angela Merkel from Germany, the German Chancellor, she actually began talks with President Vladimir Putin in the Kremlin on Friday with ties at post-Cold War laws. Cold War lows, I mean, her final official trip to Russia before she steps down after nearly 16 years. Relations between two of Europe's longest serving leaders soured in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine, drawing broad condemnation and sanctions from the West. And in news, you remember that big ship, the huge ship, the Ever Given, which blocked the Suez Canal in March? Well, it went through the Suez Canal one more time, and this time it didn't get stuck. It passed through. So just wanted to share that bit of news. And in news from India, Bandajan. Oh, actually, there's news about China, Altu Baba.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew about this, but apparently China said something and is facing a backlash right now. They issued a warm welcome for the Taliban.
Yeah.
Yeah, China is struggling at home to sell the Taliban as a suitable partner for a country waging a war on alleged Islamic extremism as it prepares to embrace an Afghanistan led by the militant group. State media and diplomatic attempts to paper over the group's past and present it as a people's choice have met sharp criticism at home from those familiar with the militant organization's history of violence and repression of women. Beijing has long linked the Taliban with the East Turkestan Islamic movement, which it has blamed for terrorist attacks in Xinjiang, and now they are welcoming the Taliban just because it's strategically a better decision for them as a country against India. Now, also, the Taliban, remember they did this huge PR stunt and they did a public, a press conference. Well, after the supposed press conference, they basically are back to their old ways. They apparently abducted a woman Afghan TV anchor and told her to go home and stop working. After the reported abduction of the Afghan woman politician on August 18th by the Taliban, another case of action against women has come to light. According to the Afghan woman journalist Shabnam Davran, she was stopped from entering her workstation and told to go home. A video that she posted online shows her pleading for help from the new regime in Afghanistan. Ever since the Taliban toppled Afghanistan, women in the country have expressed a fear for freedom and free will. And there is two more cases have now been reported in Dharavi in Mumbai, Banajan. And India is currently reporting 36,517 new COVID cases and 540 deaths in the last 24 hours, according to Health Ministry Bulletin on Friday. And also, there is a news with regard to something called an iPhone Nano. Did you know about that, Altu Baba? That it seems Steve Jobs was going to release something called an iPhone Nano. And that's breaking news in India about the iPhones, and they are expecting it to come out, right? And in an update on Altu Baba's favorite person to rescue right now, Shilpa Shetty, has resumed work and joined the sets of a TV show that she is judging. She says even after so many years of women's liberation, women have to fight for their rights after their husband. Reacting to a contestant's performance on Jhansi Ki Rani, she stated, "Every time I hear about Jhansi Ki Rani, I feel like it reflects the face of society, because even today, women have to fight for their rights after their husbands. They have to fight for their existence, for their own children. This story gives us, the women, the power to fight and not give up." Jhansi Ki Rani was a superwoman. She's sending a message through that.
But she's Jhansi Ki Rani.
Yeah, that she's kind of having to fight for her rights. So more on all this you can find on mediamahima.com. But that's all we have time for this morning's Good Morning Babe. We'll be back tonight live at 5 on the Bam Ham Show with Yesham Mastani.
फिर भी आती है बहारें, फिर भी आएंगी, बदल जाए अगर माली, चमन होता नहीं खाली.
ये कौन बोला? क्योंकि हम हैं सुगंधा मिश्रा और नाम लेने की जरूरत तो है नहीं, क्योंकि आप जानते हैं कि आप हमें सुन रहे हैं रेडियो दे हॉटीज में आलतू बाबा और फालतू रानी के साथ, वेयर एंटरटेनमेंट कीप्स